Welcome to this special episode of our podcast from the Arantree Consortium at IIT Madras. In this series, we will dive into cutting-edge research and innovations that are going to be shaping the future of energy, sustainability, and climate action. The Arantree Consortium is a collaborative platform bringing together researchers, industry leaders, and policy makers to address global energy challenges through multidisciplinary solutions. In this episode, you will hear from specialists in energy. So let's get started. Dr. Ankita Bhatt is a research scientist at IIT Madras and a life cycle assessment practitioner and sustainability professional at Arantree Consulting Services Private Limited at IIT Madras Research Park. Hello, Dr. Ankita. Thank you for taking the time to speak with me today. To start with, could you introduce yourself and tell us about your role at Arantree Consulting Services?
Thanks for having me here. So I actually started off in core biology, did my bachelor's and master's in microbiology, and then pursued a PhD in environmental engineering from IIT Roorkee. Then during my PhD, I worked on algae-based wastewater treatment, which got me thinking about the bigger picture, like on how do we actually assess the real-world impact of these technologies. For example, in terms of their sustainability or public health impacts. And this led me to dive into the domain of sustainability assessment, where I started exploring tools like life cycle assessment. Now I work as a research scientist at IIT Madras, where my current role also includes being a sustainability professional at Arantree Consulting Services, which is actually a startup incubated at IIT Madras Research Park. And at Arantree, I help industries evaluate the environmental impacts of their process and products and provide a tailored decarbonization roadmap towards a more sustainable business. I work on academic industry projects where my work involves conducting LCAs and working on estimation of Scope 1, 2 and Scope 3 GHG emissions, and thereby working closely with companies that want to make data-driven decisions toward becoming more sustainable.
Your work plays a vital role in sustainability. Could you share more about your primary area of research and focus?
My core area of focus is environmental sustainability and more specifically life cycle assessment. I have worked on systems level methods like life cycle assessment, techno-economic analysis, and quantitative microbial risk assessment. At Arantree, I apply these tools to address real-world industrial cases, and we have some ongoing projects in the textile, steel, and paper manufacturing sectors. So having worked with life cycle assessment in the academia for over 5 years now, my aim is to apply these skills in the industrial sectors. It is very exciting to look at different industries, understand their process, and help them quantify their sustainability to explore the best strategies. One interesting example that I would like to share is a project that we are doing right now for an apparel manufacturing company, where they are actually upcycling waste or reject fabric into beautiful new clothes. We are assisting them in estimating the environmental benefits of waste upcycling and while recommending best strategies for business expansion. Parallelly, I am also working on different approaches to improve the LCA process as a whole, and particularly addressing data gaps and proxy data aspects. And we are also trying to integrate AI/ML techniques to enhance the quality and robustness of our assessment.
Life cycle analysis is often discussed in sustainability conversations, but not everyone fully understands it. Could you explain what LCA is and who should be conducting these assessments?
So honestly, I get this question a lot because LCA might quite sound like technical at first, and while it is a detailed scientific method, the core idea behind it is quite logical and structured. At its core, life cycle assessment is a method which is used to evaluate the environmental impacts of a product or process throughout its entire life cycle. So when I mention life cycle, it is exactly as it sounds, meaning it includes all the stages beginning from raw material extraction, manufacturing, use phase, and all the way up till the disposal or recycling. So we are not just looking at what seems green on the surface, but we are actually tracking each and every stage. So in technical terms, we often call this as a cradle to gate or cradle to cradle LCA approach. Now what's actually powerful about LCA is that it prevents problem shifting. So that is actually when a solution may seem sustainable in one area, but it can actually create new problems somewhere else. So for example, one may switch from plastic water bottles to glass bottles thinking that it's a more eco-conscious decision. Now at the forefront, that might reduce plastic waste, but glass is heavier. So in fact, transporting it over long distances uses more fuel and creates more emissions. Plus, making glass itself is a very energy intensive process. So this shift towards glass bottle might have a higher environmental impact unless the glass is reused many times. Now further moving forward to your question as to understanding what an LCA is, let's take this podcast recording as an example. If we were to do an LCA of this recording, so we would look at things like electricity used for recording devices and the internet connections, then the energy powering the servers that are going to host the final audio. The impact of in-person coordination and transport will also be included, and the materials used. So each of these things are actually going to add up to the impact, and LCA helps us quantify those impacts in a systematic and scientific manner. Now as for who should conduct these assessments, so any company, be it a large, small or mid-sized company which is serious about sustainability, should conduct LCAs. It is particularly valuable for sectors that are having complex supply chains or are energy intensive in nature. So now LCA is not just for scientists or researchers, it is actually a business tool for responsible innovation and should be included as a core part of the business strategy. And especially in a country like India, where industries are rapidly growing, LCA helps build sustainable practices into that growth from the start. And I really resonate with the idea that sustainability is not just a responsibility, now it has become a competitive advantage.
That's really insightful. Given India's diverse industries, which sectors do you think stand to benefit the most from adopting LCA practices?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think almost every sector has something to gain from LCA. India has a very dynamic industrial landscape, and several sectors are going to gain a lot more from adopting LCA. One sector that's clearly in the spotlight right now is textiles. As Honorable PM Modi recently highlighted that India is the third largest textile waste generator in the world. Cities like Panipat and Bengaluru, they are carving out identities around textile recycling, while Tirupur in Tamil Nadu is actively investing in textile waste management through improved wastewater treatment. So with fast fashion on the rise and textile waste increasing, LCA can play a key role in helping this sector transition towards circular and low impact models, particularly by supporting recycling and resource recovery efforts. And then there are some hard to abate sectors like cement, steel and chemicals. So these are industries that are extremely emission intensive. In such cases, LCA can support them in identifying low carbon alternatives, optimizing energy use and minimizing the environmental trade-offs. Then there are other sectors like agriculture, food processing, construction, electronics or automotives. They are also going to be benefited from LCAs. For instance, as India moves towards electric vehicles, LCA can actually help assess the true environmental footprint of such a transition. And further, I believe as ESG reporting becomes more mainstream, tools like LCA are going to emerge as key enablers of sustainable transformation in India.
It's great to see how LCA can support sustainability across industries. Before we conclude, is there anything else you would like to share with us?
So in the present scenario, I believe that sustainability is not just more a buzzword. It's a science and a journey where techniques like life cycle assessment and techno-economic analysis, they provide measurable impacts and data-driven insights. And we strongly believe that sustainability should be accessible and available to all companies irrespective of their scale, including startups and innovators across India. Further, using this platform, I would also like to encourage young researchers and professionals to explore this space where you can actually drive meaningful change.
Thank you, Dr. Ankita. I appreciate your time and insights, and I look forward to seeing how your work continues to make an impact.